My family didn't like my boyfriend, so they sent anonymous texts pretending to be from women he'd cheated with. When that didn't work, they created fake screenshots. When that didn't work, they staged an intervention with a family friend who claimed to have personal knowledge of things that never happened. And they almost got me. Ryan came from a different background than my family expected. Different religion, different class background, different political views. None of those things mattered to me. To my parents, they were disqualifying. From the moment they met him, they were polite to his face and vocal against him behind my back. I knew they had concerns. I didn't know how far they'd go to act on them. The anonymous text started 3 months into the relationship. Numbers I didn't recognize, claiming to be women Ryan had hurt. The stories were detailed but inconsistent, different cities, overlapping timelines that didn't quite work. I asked Ryan about them. He denied them. I almost believed the texts over him, which tells you something about how well-constructed the doubt campaign was. The fake screenshots were more convincing. They appeared to show Ryan messaging another woman in ways that were emotionally intimate, but not explicitly physical. My sister presented them to me over coffee, very upset on my behalf, said a mutual friend had sent them to her. When I showed Ryan, he immediately pointed out the timestamps were wrong. The messages claimed to be from dates he could prove he'd been somewhere else entirely. Ryan helped me trace the screenshots. It took 2 weeks. The font rendering was slightly off from the actual app, something you'd only notice if you look carefully. The metadata on the image file pointed to a creation date that was 2 days before the supposed conversation happened. Someone had built these from scratch. Someone who was motivated, patient, and had enough technical skill to make it look almost real. I had one suspect. I went to my mother's house unannounced on a weeknight. My sister was there. My aunt was there. I placed the screenshots on the table and asked who made them. There was a silence that lasted too long for any of them to be innocent. Then my mother said, "We did it because we love you." And I realized they'd all been in it together. The conversation that followed lasted 3 hours. My mother, my sister, and my aunt had been running a coordinated campaign for 4 months. The anonymous texts, the fake screenshots, and the family friend who'd claimed personal knowledge. She was my aunt's co-worker who'd agreed to play a role. There was no personal knowledge. There was a script they'd written for her. My family had written a script to end my relationship. I left. I didn't speak to my mother or sister for 4 months. Ryan and I are still together. In fact, we got engaged 8 months after this happened. My family came around eventually, not because they suddenly loved Ryan, but because they understood they'd lost leverage by going too far. The relationship with my mother is functional. With my sister, it's still strained. My aunt I see at holidays and say very little to. I don't think my family is evil. I think they were scared and convinced they were protecting me. But protection that requires deception isn't protection. It's control. In the moment they decided their judgment was more important than my ability to live my own life, they stopped being a safety net and started being a cage. I'm just glad I checked the locks before it closed. Is there ever a justification for a family member fabricating evidence to end someone's relationship? Tell me where you stand.